Hi everybody, it's Michael. Welcome to New Victory Gardening. Today I just thought I'd do a pretty quick video on just some interesting things around the yard. Have you been paying attention in your gardens, and have you noticed anything a little different? So now it's early February, and I just noticed some things that are not what I'd normally seen in all my years of gardening. So I thought I'd show them and maybe talk about them a little bit. First thing, this is the state flower of poppy. Not only is it growing, it's in bloom in February. And so normally this plant blooms in spring, April or March. And you can see it all over the hills. But it's been so warm that I have poppies in February. My blackberry vines never went dormant, and as a matter of fact, oops, there's blackberries on my vines, which is unheard of. I've never had actual ripe blackberries on my vines in February before. But like I said, we had such a cold and warm snap that they never fully went dormant. You can see there's a little bit of purpling. That's what they do whenever some cold air hits them, but it wasn't enough to make them go dormant. And so we have some of last year's berries here, but then we have the sprouting of new berries, and it started in January. And so I don't know what to make of it. I'm gonna actually taste one. Hold on, let me taste one. Not bad. Not as sweet as summer, but it's ripe. And that's in February, which is unheard of. Just to check in on the garlic. Yeah, the garlic sprouting, it's pretty good. I'm seeing a good rate here. One of the varieties I plant always sprouts sooner than the other, and they're pretty consistent. So got my fingers crossed and hopes up that we'll have a good harvest this year. So here is a branch that I grafted a year ago. It's a nectarine that's grafted onto a peach. And so I had done 3 here, and it appeared that only one of them took. As you can see, this one has buds on it. But I left these other 2 that I thought maybe just didn't take. But I noticed this year that one of the ones that I left here has a bud on it. And so it sat all summer like it hadn't took, but now this year it's growing. And so I just doubled the amount of successful grafts that I had whenever I grafted to this nectarine to this peach tree. As we walk by my blooming plum tree, last but not least, we have a tree collard. This is not the prettiest tree collard. This is actually a test of a tree collard. I had grown tree collards before, and they weren't successful. They weren't perennial, or they didn't have the upright growth habit that tree collards had. And I finally found one. If you check the description or you go to the webpage, newvictorygardening.com, you can find, I linked to the lady that grew these. So this here is a good tree collard. It just needs a little bit of love to grow big. And I'm learning that you probably want to trellis this because it's planted way back here and it rooted around. And another thing I found is that it likes full sun, and so I had planted it partial shade thinking that would help it, but it's leaned towards the sun. That's one of those Asiatic lilies. Anyway, it's leaned towards the sun and tried to get more sun even though it's hot here. And so I learned a little bit, and so I think I'll sprout some more of these because I have seed for it, strangely enough. And we'll see if the seed grows true, and I'll try to treat this plant a little better and get it into better shape and trellis it a little bit this year. and it looks like we'll maybe have some success with a perennial collard that you can eat from at any time. By the way, what you're seeing here are the seed heads for this plant. I'm actually going to cut these with dinner. I'm going to saute them and have them with a pork chop. These seed heads here actually are very delicious, and so I just take them and saute them like a little broccoli, and they grow lovely. So that was another added surprise from having a tree collard, a perennial collard green. Well, that's it. Just a couple things I noticed in February. I don't really have a commentary on it or any explicit thought. It's just something that I noticed that was different, that was worth noting. And so that's my question is, have you noticed anything different in your gardens? Anything out of season? Any plant growing, say in February when it normally grows in May or June? Anything interesting like that going on? Post it as a comment. I'd love to hear. I'm just always curious about trends with weather and how plants respond to it. With that, happy gardening, and I will talk to you later. Take care.